Hello there, YouTube. Feels like I never seem to get off the ground, doesn't it? Last couple of weeks, fatigue, migraines, it all just seems to take over. Well, I thought I'd come back today and talk about books and Booktube. Now, I've got a Booktube channel, which I'm planning on going back to at some point and making more videos on. But for the time being, I'm going to stick to this channel for now until I can get into the habit of making regular videos. Like, for a hot minute, I was making a video almost every day, and then I stopped because of ill health and various issues in that field. But today, I thought I would do a traditional book haul. I even did the Booktube thing of showing you the books with the spine facing me so that you don't know what they are. So these are the books that I've managed to pick up recently. They were all relatively cheap. These are all books that I've got for a couple of quid or when they were on offer or whatever. So they've been books I've been meaning to add, or books that just sparked interest, and I thought, why not? Now the thing is, I've added these books to my library, but there's 6 books here, and even the shortest one is probably 70,000-80,000 words. Longest may well be over 200,000. So we're probably looking at somewhere in the region of 100 hours worth of reading. Maybe less, but not by much. Like somewhere between 50 and 100 hours worth of reading. Now, the thing is, if that was a video game, a 50 to 100 hour RPG would be a reasonably long, but manageable RPG. If you gave me something like The Witcher 3, which could easily be well over 100 hours, or Elden Ring, which again could easily be well over 100 hours, I wouldn't balk at the idea of playing that game. And the idea of, oh yeah, I could play that game, I might play it over the space of 2 months, I could put 100 hours into that, that would be fine. But if you gave me this entire stack of books and told me to read this by the end of September, that would be quite a challenge right now. That would actually make me go, ooh, I don't think that's actually within my capability at the moment. And the main reason for that is that my attention span has gone off a cliff. And I think it has for a lot of people. For the last year, I have been reading so much less than I ever did before. 2025, I've barely touched a book. 2024, my reading slowed dramatically. I've still been reading, but just not very much. What I find is I struggle to pick the book up. I struggle to start reading. And when I do start, I struggle to get going. If I'm reading for 20 minutes, I will happily read for another hour. It's getting through the first 15 minutes that's a challenge. And all it takes, I was actually going to pick up my phone as a visual aid, not realising I'm recording on it. It's there. But yeah, all it takes is for my phone to beep at me while I'm midway through recording a video, and my TV can show me various different things, like a notification can show up on my computer or whatever, and that's me done. That's the book distracted, and I'm not continuing with that. Whatever scene I was in, I'm going to have to reread that scene because I've distracted myself and it's gone. I'm not recalling that. I never used to be like that. I don't know why I'm finding that this is an issue. I've read a little bit, but the books I have been reading have been quite tiny. I was going to show you one of the books I've been reading, but the cat has decided she wants to sit on it. Because I was reading the little pocket leather bound of Heart of Darkness, which I was quite happy to be reading. It's a relatively short book. It's taken me weeks to read it. I should be able to read that book in like a long weekend comfortably, without really trying. If I spent an entire day doing nothing but reading, I could easily read that in one sitting. It would take me all day, maybe, but I could read it in one sitting. So why am I struggling? I think it's a mixture of the way dopamine is being dished out constantly by other much more immediate entertainment from video games and TV and social media, YouTube, things like that, and also the rise of AI. Now, I don't use AI a lot, but I have found that since I subscribed to ChatGPT and I started playing around with AI, I find that I would rather sit and play around with the AI, chatting with the AI, than sit and read a book. Not because I don't want to read the book. I do want to read the book. And if you asked me, would you rather read this book or chat aimlessly with the AI? I would say read the book every time. But what I actually do is I casually open up the AI and I ask a question too, and then 5 hours are gone. And I've been talking with the AI all day. I've just been asking questions and discussing different things and talking about politics and history, and because it's got access to all of this training data, it can quite easily get information. And yes, about a quarter of the time the AI is wrong, which is terrible results for the AI. They do have a really, really bad tendency to hallucinate. But if you're used to using the AI, you very quickly spot when it's doing that, and you get used to writing your prompts to get it to fact check itself, and it will rarely double down on a lie. It will usually, if you ask it where it's got its sources from, it can usually tell you, and it can usually explain things. And if you ask the same question but rephrase it slightly differently, and it gives you two very different answers, you know at least one of them was an hallucination. So you can get through the AI barriers quite comfortably, and it becomes very addictive. And I think that's become a new issue. I think we've been having assaults on our ability to focus for a long time. Our attention span has been assaulted from so many different areas, and I do think that that at this point in 2025, attention span retention is probably one of the hardest things to achieve. Everything is now algorithmic to such a great degree, and AI is now being implemented within almost anything. You can't even Google search now without an AI trying to answer you. Everything becomes algorithmic. No longer do you open YouTube and go to your subscriptions page or look at anything that's customized to you. You instead see an algorithmic front page that is just YouTube trying to push the things that it thinks will get a more viral response from you. It's not even looking for your tastes anymore. It's looking for the things that will become most addictive to make you stay on the platform, which means by the end of it, you all end up watching the same stuff. It's why I no longer see any videos by channels that I used to watch regularly. I haven't seen a Shadiversity video in my recommended feed in months. I used to watch that channel regularly. Why is it not showing up? Because it's not viral enough. It's too niche. So yeah, I instead get very, very viral stuff. I'm not quite getting Mr. Beast content, but I'm not getting far off. To the point where I will put a video on from my recommendations, and a friend or family member who may be in the room will go, "Oh, you watched that channel too?" That never happened before. So that's a strange position to be in. It does make me think that we are having our mind, our attention span, our focus manipulated to such a degree now that we're losing all semblance of self. So I want to recapture that. And I want to do that by reading more. And I'm actually going to harness the very thing that I think is damaging my attention span, and that being social media and algorithms, by using this as a way to constantly keep myself in check. So I'm going to talk about the stuff I'm doing. And I'm going to start by describing the books that I've picked up and why I got them. So, let's go. The first one I've got here, good old-fashioned book haul. I've only wasted 10 minutes before I got to the first book. Aren't I efficient? First one I've got is Ward D by Frieda McFadden. Now, I don't know anything about this book. Ward D is the hospital's mental health unit, and as a medical student, Amy is required to gain experience on the floor, but little do her colleagues know it may force her to confront a past she's fought hard to forget. It's a psychological thriller. Now, I don't know anything really about these books. I've literally just read the beginnings of the blurb on the back, but I keep seeing these books recommended. I see Boyfriend recommended quite a lot. And it's not being recommended by people. It's being recommended by algorithms. Again, algorithms trying to decide what you engage with. But if this author is everywhere, I want to know why. Because Amazon is desperate to make me read this. Not necessarily this book specifically, but this author. This author is absolutely everywhere. This author is all over Amazon. Multiple of Frieda's books are on like the Amazon Prime reading service, where you can get them for free. They're on most of the library apps. And if you go to supermarkets where they have like the really mainstream blockbuster fiction, the kind of place you would see. Stephen King often ends up there. But, Stephen King's a special case. But like James Patterson will often end up there. Like those kinds of authors where they're so prolific. Well, Frieda McFadden seems to have appeared in this grouping, and this book I didn't buy from Amazon or anything like that. This book I got from Asda, and I got it simply because it was $3.95, and I had a shopping cart which I'd filled with food and basic toiletries and stuff, but I was £2 short for free delivery, and the delivery would have been £5. So by adding this book, I went over the limit by £1.95, but I saved myself a fiver. So by buying a book that cost me less than £4, I saved £5 on delivery. So this book, Asda paid me £1.5p to buy this book. That's a skill. Being paid by Asda to read a book. Yeah, well, to own the book anyway. I haven't been paid to read it yet. So I thought, why not? I can at least see what the author's like. The next book that I picked up was one I didn't know existed. And it's by an author that I already know is pretty decent. It's a little thinner than I was expecting. It's only this size, and it is Retribution Falls by Chris Wooding. Now, if you're not familiar with Chris Wooding, he did The Ember Blade. The Ember Blade is kind of it's not a retelling. Like, that would be a bit mean. It's a Tolkien-esque high fantasy. It's very Tolkien-like, but it feels like someone took Tolkien's ideas and modernized them. I would go as far as to say The Ember Blade is modern Tolkien. And that'll probably make Chris extremely happy. Because I would actually suggest people read The Ember Blade and not read Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings I don't feel has aged especially well. I think the prose is actually quite lacking, especially by modern standards. So I would recommend people actually read something like The Ember Blade instead. I think it's got a more modern, more nuanced story, characters, etc. But I already know that Chris Wooding is pretty good at writing. By the way, I'm assuming Chris Wooding is a guy. I've just realised, because I don't look up authors in case you hadn't realised, I've just realised Chris is a unisex name. This could be Christine Wooding. I don't know. So, I mean, usually I found if it's a woman using the name Chris, they spell it with a K, but not always. I have a friend whose wife is called Christine, and she spells it with a CH. So, yeah, this could be a woman. I don't know. There's no picture on the back. So, yeah. I was assuming a man. Might be a man, might be a woman. I don't know. And I don't care to check. Because it doesn't matter. But yes, Retribution Falls. This looks like it's a steampunk-style book. Literally, I found this just by looking up steampunk books. And this came up in a Google search. So, I had a little look, and it was a $5 on Amazon. So I thought, yeah, I'll have that. So I picked it up. We'll see if it's any good. Because I've been wanting more steampunk and more weird fiction. I mentioned that in one of my previous videos. So I'm hoping it's pretty decent. The next two I bought largely based on the author and very little else. And that is, I have Ghostwritten, and I have Black Swan Green, both by David Mitchell. Now, David Mitchell, for those who are not aware, has kind of flown under the radar for a lot of people, unless you're one of the literary types, the types that supposedly read literary fiction, or as I like to call it, shit fiction. Because they seem to think that they have a monopoly on the ability to talk about any kind of human depth, because you can't possibly handle grief or anxiety or joy or fear or any of those kinds of issues unless you're writing literary fiction, which is extremely boring, lacks all kind of plot, and is pretentious as all fuck. And if you dare put a dragon or an alien or a vampire in it, well, now it's genre fiction, and it's apparently worse. I don't see how it's worse. What that proves is that the people who love literary fiction lack imagination. Because I can have a book that discusses grief and joy and fear and all those kinds of things, and has a dragon in it. I don't know. I'm capable of handling both of those at the same time in the same book. And the fact that these people seem to think that only the snooty, pretentious fiction contains anything of any real note proves they've not read anything outside of their pretentious, shitty genre. And yes, your genre is also a genre, it's just a shit one that doesn't think it's a genre. But, that aside, David Mitchell, which a lot of people claim writes literary fiction, actually just writes really abstract and experimental sci-fi, which he goes out of his way to say pretty much the same. Like if you ask David Mitchell himself what genre he writes in, he considers himself to be a sci-fi author. Even though you won't find these on sci-fi shelves, you will only find these on the literary fiction shelves. Because they don't obviously contain a robot or a spaceship or anything like that, so it's clearly not sci-fi. This is too special to be sci-fi. Couldn't be sci-fi. It's not that plebeian shit with a genre. No, this has to be experimental crap where we take out all the punctuation and make a run-on sentence, because that's so much better than having a story with a plot and characters that makes sense and is entertaining. Let's instead just write gobbledygook and expect people to make sense of it, because James Joyce is so fucking special, isn't he? No, he's not. And literary fiction is shit. But there are many books labelled literary fiction that are not shit. David Mitchell has written some really good books. I particularly like the Bone Clocks. I picked the Bone Clocks up a couple of years back now, and I picked it up entirely because it had a pretty cover. I'm not joking. I went, oh wow, that is a really pretty book cover. And The Bone Clocks is a really interesting title. That is an intriguing title. I'm gonna read that. And I literally just picked up a book, and I went, Bone Clocks, really pretty cover, and it's by David Mitchell. Somehow I doubt that's the comedian that I'm thinking of. It's not. It's not. They just happen to have exactly the same name, spelt exactly the same. They are not the same person. But you know, if you Google David Mitchell, you'll find a comedian. It was in the show Peep Show and a few others. Really like that comedian, and it amused me that he has the same name. So that also inspired me to buy it. It's a really stupid reason to buy it, but I did buy it for that reason. And part of me really, really wants to take the most famous of David Mitchell's books to the comedian David Mitchell and get him to sign it, just because I think it'd be really funny to have David Mitchell, the comedian, sign a copy of Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas being David Mitchell's most famous book. That one is very experimental, and I really like it. I think it's a fascinating book. So, Ghostwritten was his first book. And apparently it's a good starting point, but I've already read 2 of his books, so you know I'm already there now. But Black Swan Green, I believe, is his most recent book, and I've already got Slade House over there, which is a very thin, like ghost story horror book. Again, not literary. It's not pretentious bullshit. These are sci-fi and horror. That's what they are. Like, deal with it. We own this one. Right? You can go and have, you know, James Joyce and you know, Infinite Jest, you know, David Foster Wallace and all that crap. You know, you can keep them. You know, shitty books. Have them. You don't get David Mitchell. He's one of ours. Speaking of one of ours, I picked up this, which I heard about from a YouTuber, and it sounded really interesting. So I decided to pick it up. It's called The Sparrow, by Mary Doria Russell. And I thought this sounds fascinating. It is a first contact sci-fi, where because the author is an anthropologist who studied like cultures and their first meetings, when she decided to write a First Contact, she decided that she would build off her knowledge of anthropology. So this is based on a concept of generally when a highly technologically capable civilization meets a less technologically capable civilization, they often send people of very particular skill sets, particular positions of cultural significance, and the most common people they send are religious figures. So I believe this book is a First Contact where a Catholic priest is the representative of humanity in First Contact with aliens. I believe that's the concept. But, like I say, I don't really know. I've not read it. But it came very, very highly recommended. So I decided to check it out. I like the sound of a more contemplative First Contact novel. And again, this you will not find in the sci-fi section. This will be in the literary fiction section. Despite the fact that it's an alien First Contact book, for fuck's sake. But yeah. The last book I've picked up, and this, I believe, is self-published. Yes, I believe this is a self-published book. You can tell a self-published book when you pick it up, because they've got this weird, soft cover. And this is becoming more common. And this is Sufficiently Advanced Magic by Andrew Rowe. It's a bit of a chunky one, but not overly so. It's only 620-something pages, and it's fairly large print, though admittedly really, really tight margins. But it's fine. I will say you can tell that it is self-published. There's a few giveaways. White paper instead of cream. Traditional publishing uses cream paper. Self-publishing uses white. Don't use white if you're self-publishing. White pages is a big giveaway. It makes you look less professional. Also, yeah, that's Times New Roman. Terrible font choice. Don't use Times New Roman. It's hard to read. It's uncomfortable to read. There's multiple fonts you can use, but Times New Roman is almost never the right font choice. Garamond is often a good one. You want to use a serif font. Don't use a sans serif. We definitely don't want to see Arial, because it, again, makes it harder to read. But yeah, Times New Roman, bad choice. But other than that, again, the cover looks interesting. The title, Sufficiently Advanced Magic. This makes me think this is going to be a nice blend of sci-fi and fantasy. This is going to be fantasy where the magic replaces technology, which is something that I am playing around with a lot in my own writing. So I'm looking forward to giving this one a try. Yeah, those were the books I picked up. And I thought I'd show them off. I thought I'd give you guys a book haul and a bit of a chat. And at the very least, this it breaks my silence once again and gets me back into posting videos. And hopefully I can keep this momentum going and we can talk about some more stuff. Because there are a couple of videos that I want to make over the next couple of days, which I'm going to try and put up. There are a couple of discussion topics I've been planning on making videos on. I've kind of written up notes that I wanted to discuss. I've just not got around to doing it because of all the fatigue and the migraines that I've been having recently. The last couple of weeks, I have not had great health. I still look rough, I know. But, you know, I'll recover. I'll be fine. Anyway, I will see you guys soon. I'll let you know what I think of these books. And unlike the majority of Booktube, the next time you see these books, I will have read them. I will not be unhauling them. Though I will be unhauling a lot of books because I need to make space. So one of the upcoming videos I'll be doing is I'll be emptying out my main bookshelf and deciding what goes into it. I'll also, in September, I'm getting a new cabinet for my leather-bound, my folios, and my other collectible books. And that's going to be going in that alcove there. So that'll be changing. And I'm going to do a new library tour at the end of September, probably, because that's when the bookshelf will get here and will have been built. So it'll probably be around the end of September. I'll do a new bookshelf tour showing off all my collectible folios, the expensive, nice, swanky books that I've got. I'm really looking forward to showing them off. I've got a few new ones since we last took a look at them, and I'm looking forward to talking about them and having an excuse to get them off the shelves and read them with you guys and chat with you about them. So I hope you'll join me for that. So that's my plan. We're coming up to half an hour, so I'm going to stop it here. The next video I want to talk about, I meant to go back to the whole culture war discussion, because I did a whole video about feminism, and I never made the counterpoint video about like the dude bro bullshit culture like in the manosphere, and I kind of want to talk about that. So I'm going to try and make that video fairly soon, because you know, politics and social issues, something that seems to have managed to sequester itself into every hobby of mine. So I want to talk about it and dissect it a little bit. But until next time, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining me. See you then. Bye.